All right, it's March 5th, 2012. This is HRM, Caesar St. Augustine de Buonaparte, also known as Reality Supreme Being. I'm a presidential candidate, have been one since any of the other candidates listed themselves. If you go on Federal Election Commission, you'll see my application form and how I pasted all of this stuff dealing with quantum physics in the past and the present and the future. And you'll see some marks on the presidential form, and I'm not going to reveal what those marks are because nobody in the media, they mentioned that I pasted all this stuff on my application, but they didn't mention what the marks were. I mean, talk about stupid people. Just dumb, totally uneducated. So anyway, and we all know what I think of the media. The media's, full of garbage. They're not, they're not honest, sincere, or straightforward about any of the reporting they do. And neither are the politicians. They're one coin, and they represent each side of the same coin. They're just on different sides of the, coin. I don't know which one to call heads or tails. Probably I'd call the politicians tails, total asses, and the media heads, only because heads should start rolling in the media, like when that guy sent anthrax to all the media. Anyway, I got a nice little story to tell you. Over the weekend, I found out there was like a swap meet over in Sherman Way, and I got to talk to a lot of people. They were all friendly there. Told them I was a presidential candidate. And lo and behold, this one person, young lady, I guess, she was asking me a lot of questions about health stuff because I was talking to somebody else about it. And I started answering a lot of her questions. And she mentioned something about running in a marathon and all that. And I mentioned that, sugar, you shouldn't mix your breakfast foods, proteins, and carbohydrates or sugars in the morning at all. Well, in order to get a thyroxine release in your brain and precondition the body to do that every day, you need to eat high-quality protein in the morning, about 2 to 4 ounces of some protein. Then about half hour later, you can eat regular food, or mixing your proteins and carbohydrates. The reason you have a diabetic epidemic, besides the genetic reasons, is because people's pancreas, first of all, doesn't develop until you're 7 or 8 years old, and so you're going to Halloween long before 7 or 8 years old, so you're being introduced to candy. Sugar's like the worst poison in the world. Anyway, I'm getting back to the story about what happened at the swap meet. So it's a tiny little swap meet that just is new to the valley there, and it started. It's in Canoga Park. And lo and behold, I'm giving this lady this information about, what they need to do. And I told them that doctors used to send their patients to me for advice, including some movie stars, like Mannix, Keeker of Mannix fame, Mike Connor, and a few other people. I'm just not going to mention names right now. So anyway, so I gave this lady all this advice, and she was very jovial, very friendly, and all that stuff. And at one point, I needed to eat something, and I was wondering and wanted to ask her if she was, going to go to the store. She said she might go to one of the, fast food places. So anyway, but she was busy across the way. So I walked over, and me, I'm a jovial guy. I went boo, and the woman jumped like really high and fell back towards me. Now here's what's bad about all this. Remember I told you I do have a twin. And so I said, I'm sorry, God, it's not the end of the world. And so I said, okay, sorry, I'll never do that again. And I walked away. Now, what ended up happening was I felt really, really nervous because the people that saw this happen were like giving me these, dirty looks like, what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything, it didn't hurt anybody. And it was just, boo, you say that on Halloween all the time. So anyway, I decided to go to the 99-cent store, which is right down the street. And I felt really uneasy. This is one of those things that happens when something like this happens. I have like a sixth sense about it. So I called my twin, And I said, listen, I know the last time you stood in for me was like 3 years ago when that SWAT team came to my house and all these people were doing this wrong stuff, and you got taken in to jail for it. Anyway, it all turned out that it was all a false alarm. Somebody made a false report. Anyway, so he takes my place. Unfortunately, he was wearing shorts. I was wearing black pants at the time. So he goes back to the thing. I give him my hat and my glasses here. And he goes back. And lo and behold, the cops are there. So they proceed to put handcuffs on him. And luckily he had given, he'd given them, all, whatever they were asking him questions and all that. And he's very cantankerous. He's cantankerous, excuse me. He's really pissed off about this. He says, over boo? You got to be kidding. So anyway, they asked all the wrong questions. Well, we have 5 witnesses that said, you not only said boo, but you put your arms like around her waist. I said, no, I didn't do. He said he didn't do that. And because I told him what had happened. I said that she had jumped back towards me. And of course, bumping into me, it's instinctive to put your hands out because you think you're going to fall and you think that person's going to take you down. So anyway, so see, the cops never asked that question to those people. They said, oh, we have witnesses that I touched the person, And I didn't. So anyway, it all got blown over. He got his handcuffs taken off and all that. We talked about it afterwards. And I said, isn't it interesting that the cops asked all these questions, but they didn't ask the right one? Like, for instance, if you're going to make a big deal out of boo, then ask the right questions. Do a thorough investigation. They should have asked the people, hey, when he said boo, how did she react? Did she jump up? Did she go jump sideways? Did she fall back towards it? They didn't ask any of those questions to verify the story. So it's real dumb police officers. One guy, I think his name was the senior guy, was H. The H in his name is silent, so it's Hotig or whatever, or Otig. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, here they are, and the rookie guy was really being my older twin told me, he said, Ches told me, he said, oh man, that guy was a real jerk. He was being a real asswipe, And I said, well, what, did he ask? He said, literally, they kept telling him to shut up and blah, 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 and all this, and he called them, I thought it was funny, he called them control freak fanatics. Contradictory control freak fanatics. That's what he said, quote unquote. And, well, I don't care, And the rookie says that, he said that somehow the subject got about talking about God. And he says, there's no God. This is not the kind you think. He said, well, I know I'm going to go to heaven. and he answered back, he said, are you wearing God's shoes now? That you can judge yourself that you're going to go to heaven because you wear a badge? And so, at that point, he said that, I gave him my story. I said that she had written stuff down. So he mentioned that to him. Well, the lady who talked to me and she wrote stuff down. I was giving her health advice. So they asked her. She didn't tell that to them. I don't know what she told them. But anyway, so she shows the paper and he goes, oh, and the cop just put his head down and says, they were talking before. And this, evidently the call came over the police squad car that, somebody had attacked somebody there, which is wrong. See, this is how things get blown out of proportion. This is why you have a police state. Can you imagine telling the story that anybody would get handcuffed and questioned like that over saying boo to somebody that you were talking with and giving advice to and you were getting along fine? What is that? So anyway, it pretty much got smoothed over. But I just thought I'd share that story with you. And I thought that, hey, here's an alleged presidential candidate, because he's not running. I am. And he's getting all the flack for it. And the reason he stands in for me is because I stood in for him when I was much younger, in 1984, when he was in quite a few places in Washington, D.C., throwing the Secret Service off on different trails. Anyway, so the point is, here's the point. These people have no business being in power. I don't care whether it's a local fuzz, the state assemblies, the federal. These people have no business being in power. You think you have a government that's really your government? Wake up. You don't. Do you know what I said earlier in dozens of videos? I've said, when I went on YouTube just now, I saw this Rialta rock and roll, whatever, and they show this picture of kind of like a almost nude girl laying there on her back, with her legs spread. And you click on that. You know why I clicked on it? There was over 101 million views of that particular video. Now, one guy commented, the most recent comment said, "I'm tired of going on YouTube and it not being what the picture depicts it to be." Well, hey, I'm tired of that too. I went on YouTube and said, naked, sexy presidential candidate. And people go on there and they hear me ranting and raving, of course, and they don't see any naked stuff. But, the point is, why am I being ignored? Why am I blacklisted from the media? In one of my videos, I showed an old books that were destroyed from the 1800s. One of them that was saved was the assassination of William McKinley. Did you know McKinley campaigned from his front porch? So what makes that any different from me campaigning from Canoga Park or from Malibu or from any place that I happen to be? I don't have the paparazzi following me, which they should. I mean, if they made a movie about everything, just the stuff I've talked about on the 150 videos, if they made a movie and let's say Dustin Hoffman played me, and they played a movie out of it, it would shame the United States of America on how an alleged quote-unquote citizen doesn't really enjoy civil rights at all. They are violated because, why? Because I'm smarter than a lot of you people walking the planet right now? Because I'm the one that probably one of the many of the ones, and there's a lot of us out there, that really aren't stupid. We know, we've learned from the school of hard knocks. You people have violated our rights over and over and over again. It doesn't stop. You get a new politician, don't you have enough laws? Why do we need to elect new politicians to make new laws? The cops and judges and lawyers are always saying, oh, we always need new laws because the world is evolving. Evolving to what? Pollution, the ozone layer, you want to know where it's evolving? It's evolving to hell. It's evolving to the way the other planets are. If you ever went to listen to my videos, I told you go to these 5 websites, the 99 Monkey Philosophy, the Holographic Universe, Showing Entanglement, and 3 others that I mentioned. You go to all those websites, you'll get your answer about whether there's a God or not. And it has strong circumstantial evidence. This circumstantial evidence cannot be ignored. It can only be ignored by idiots and dummies and people who are fanatics about their religion, about faith, quote-unquote faith. What, you've been waiting 2,000 years for Christ to come back? I'm sorry, John Lennon was right. Even if he had said that he never said it that way. Yes, they were more popular than Christ, and they probably still are. Because rock and roll and rap music is more popular than going to church. Okay? You people don't have it. You never will get it. And if a big meteor comes and destroys your planet, you deserve it. What's wrong with your world, man? Why do you do this? I don't get equal attention. I should get the same exact equal attention. On the news night before last, there was this big rock that they're transporting to the Museum of Art in LA. They devoted 2.5 minutes to that news story, to the rock going to the LA Museum. You want to know how many minutes they devoted to Romney and Obama or the 2012 presidential campaign, election? 15 seconds. That was it, 15 seconds. And it varies from news story to story, depending on whether they're yelling at each other, on a debate stage or whatever. I challenge all of them to debate on St. Patrick's Day. Hey, no one's answered me. No one sent any emails or answered me on YouTube, or no one said anything. It'd be kind of hard to get a hold of me because, I live kind of like a homeless person. It's evil what you people do. And you're watching me die right in front of your eyes, because I haven't gone to a dentist to get up and fix my teeth. They're all worn away from the police, your society, all of you, causing stress on me, claiming that you need to uphold your fantastic laws as opposed to having any kind of compassion or understanding. Yeah, you're all sick, beyond sick.